Welcome back. Today's Tuesday, March the 26th. As you can tell by my voice, I'm definitely under the weather and I couldn't make it today. I mean, I could have, but I would have gotten you guys all, gave you my bugs. So I'd rather keep it in the house. I hope it's going to be over this week. So I think after this week, I'll be okay. I just got some medication this morning. So going forward, we're going to keep, I didn't want to cancel the class. So I'm going to attempt to do my best to do this virtually. And since we already did this last semester, I'm sure most of you are used to this method and it's proven to work either way, so we'll make it happen. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen right now, and this is being recorded, so this way we're going to have a good review later on with these things. All right, we're going to cover a lot of Figma today, okay, just to kind of make sure everyone understands the basics and the fundamentals of the program. I know last week we went over the interactive components stuff, and that was important for the UI kit. So today I'm going to cover some more in-depth knowledge of that topic and maybe some other exercises that will help you. And I did give you an extension till the end of the week, so you do have another 5 days to get this done. 4 days, I guess. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to share my screen now and we're going to get started. If you have any questions, you can save them for later, as I would like to keep this recording straight through. Nonetheless, though, I don't mind if you have a question in the middle, I'll still answer it. It's all good. All right, so let's get started here. I'm going to share my screen. And just verify if you can see my screen. Just give me a quick little hands up or something, a thumbs up. Very good, thank you. Perfect. And there, all right, so here we go. So I'm gonna get this thing out of the way though. There we go, it's gone. Not the little tab hanging out. Okay, so here we are. This is now class number 11. All right, we're already week number 12, so we are approaching the finish line. Not to panic though, it'll be fun from now on. You're just gonna be creating a prototype for your website portfolio. It's honestly, guys, it's not that much of a lot of work. It's just a matter of planning it properly and putting it together. And of course, learning Figma. I know it's a learning curve for some of you because I'm throwing, I'm teaching you both applications, not only the UX side, which we covered in the beginning. With the UI side, we covered XD, which you guys did a great job on those apps. I'm still in the middle of marking them, however, so I'm going through that. You should get something back very soon. But Figma as well is another great software that I'll do my best to share as much information as I can. And today, next week, the week after, you'll have a nice solid lessons in that application. And I'll give you some other things to take with you going forward to keep learning this software, because it's the way the future is going right now with UI design, with UX, and Figma seems to be the winner. And this is why we switched it halfway through, because to be honest with you, it's XD still kind of like on the college level. They'll still teach it because it's part of Adobe. And I like to keep things current, and that's why I made the decision to teach you the new software. All right, so 11 and 12, this is where we're at here. I kind of slimmed this down a bit from before. Had some redundant tutorials in XD. If you see XD tutorial, we're going to convert it to a Figma, so I will show you how to do that with these examples. So I did still utilize my older handouts that I had. I know you requested me to have you display some samples from previous students. What I did was, and I do apologize for not announcing this earlier, it was under last week's lesson under desk tip. Wow, desktop UI kit previous students examples.zip. If you click on this file, you will actually download it. It just bothers me, like spelling does bother me sometimes, so there we go, save. So desktop UI kit, previous students examples. Let me just show you what this entails so you're on the right page. I couldn't give you the XD files because they're actually the actual work files. But I did screen capture a few of the better projects, the nice sections that I had. Mind you, this was like probably a year old, a year and a half, but it's still good because we haven't really changed the assignments from then. So what you'll see here is a folder, and you'll see all these students that did the UI kit. Now, keep in mind what's missing here is the grayscale version. So a lot of them I did stress the importance of giving me like a rough, whether it's hand sketched, whether it's like a grayscale version, and then this is like the final rendered version. I don't have to show you the sketches and the renderings. You guys, you know what that is by now, but I will show you some of the final submissions that I got for the UI kit, which is again, it's due at the end of the week for you. Right. Now, some are a little more simple, like this one here, okay? But it did pave the way for, I guess, I think it's Emily in this case, to start creating her portfolio website. It came down to her font choice, her menu, the buttons, some of the interactive elements she's going to have, some thumbnails in her portfolio, the color scheme, of course, which is super important, her logo, things like that will help her get this portfolio started. All right. So this was just a very simple, average looking UI kit that did help her because I did match this with the final, submission, and this was actually what her website looked like. It looked obviously more involved. This is just a simple UI kit, but it did help her quite a bit. So this is an average project. Let me show you some of the better ones. This is also a good one here. The menu, this gentleman did the menu on the side here. So this was like just a different way of creating a website. And I don't know if he implemented it this way on the HTML. I think he ended up going horizontal actually, but it was a nice try. Okay, again, doesn't have to reflect the final 100%. Things do change, but this definitely helped him create the rest of the stuff, whether it's the buttons, the color scheme, some of the thumbnails, some of the other things, the menu that, and this is interactive, by the way. So hopefully when I do the lesson today, you can include interactive stuff. By now, most of you should have the design done anyways. All I'm looking for right now is just a little bit of interactivity, which we covered last week. Okay, so you should kind of have all this knowledge already. It's just I know with Figma, it takes a little while to get used to. This is why I'm giving you the benefit and giving you a little bit of a grace period, okay, for next week. Here's another one here. This is a really nice one. Okay, a lot of different interactive options here from, her resume was downloaded using these buttons, the logo brand. This is the buttons for her portfolio, a little bit of a drop down menu, which again, if you don't have to interact this, don't worry. We're going to cover the more advanced stuff later, but at least do the interactive stuff here, like on the simple buttons, right? Some of the icons that were administered on the website, anything that will help you build a website, you can basically include, okay? So this was another UI kit. All right, here's another one over here. More drop-down menus, more color schemes, logos, thumbnails for the image gallery. Like these are preliminaries, and then they were replaced with the real thumbnails of the actual portfolio work. Next and previous buttons and things like that, right? These are all custom made. Here's another one here. This one was more like a vertical design, and you can see how the menu changes from different sections. Some of the other color scheme, of course, fonts. This is the more notable things that you probably didn't do on the mobile UI kit, but on the desktop, you might want to consider using the font styles that will help you, the colors and everything else, and the thumbnails too. These thumbnails were for the portfolio thumbnails that were used to complete the final. Right, here's another one over here. Quite simple, but it worked. Okay, buttons, color palettes, thumbnails, menus. Here's another one. And a lot of these were, taken from my supplements of the UI kit previously. I'm going to show you how to utilize. I don't expect you to recreate these icons. Like honestly, you can borrow these or use them from sources as long as you make them into vector and you bring them into Figma. These are most common standard icons that people use every day. So I don't expect you to recreate this per se, but all this other stuff, I mean, you should be able to do, right? No problems. Here's another one here. Okay, so notice how they all have their like logo brand going on here. I'm sure you're already doing that in your portfolio class, so that's going to be inspired and integrated in your UI kit, right? There's another one here. All right, some more color schemes and fonts and buttons and stuff. Okay, here's another example. Different colors, right? Some are more vibrant, some are more subtle, some are more drastic. It depends on how your plan of execution is. This was, I guess, they did three. Like this was the grayscale, I'm assuming, and this was the the fully rendered version, and this was some of the content that went in, like a little more expanded than the other versions. And here's another one over here. Okay. So this is pretty much what's required for you to do. On top of it, the interactive stuff. Okay. So if you can make these buttons, the rollovers and stuff that we did last week, that would be in addition to this in Figma, that would be great. All right. So I hope that explained pretty much, the examples of what you have to submit. And there's no really right or wrong in this one because I just want to see what's going to help you build this prototype for your website. All right. And ultimately, when you do this in real life, like you're in school now, I'm speaking like a real project scenario, you would do this before you build a website. Okay. You're not going to make a website first. You do this, the client approves it, you build a prototype in Figma. All right. You make the prototype work, you can actually share it on a browser. Once they like the website, then you make the HTML and the CSS and stuff, right? For the bigger clients. For the smaller clients, you can get right into HTML and break off a template in WordPress and just build a website in like, maybe like half a day, right? I mean, I've done that before and I'm going to be real with you. And that's pretty much how time is money. This is how things work. But if you do a professional project on a big client and there's like tens of thousands of dollars involved, you definitely have to do this step. Okay. You have to do the UI kit. You have to do the prototype, and then you have to build a website. So everybody gets a piece of the pie, the developers, the designers, the art directors, everyone. All right. And this is why you're learning the proper, protocol and methods that they're done in industry. All right. So that was the examples here. Again, you can download them from want to get a closer look. It's under last week's class, which was class 10, and it's under desktop UI kit, previous students examples. So that's where the project was. And this is the interactive components, just some XD stuff that we transferred over to an exercise we did last week in Figma, not in XD. All right. So this is now 11 and 12. I amalgamated both of these. So next week, we're going to pretty much cover more of this stuff. And I'm going to add some more files here as we go along. So let's see what this folder entails. So here's just a reminder. I know the UI kit is due this week, but let's start thinking about the final project, which is your website, desktop, and mobile prototype. Okay. So the way we're headed with the time constraint here, let's worry about the website part. If we don't get a chance to complete the mobile version, I guess I'm gonna have to maybe minimize the requirements a bit just to be realistic, because it is a new software that I'm teaching you, and some of you might be under a lot of stress already. So let's aim for the website, and then the mobile conversion, we'll probably execute that the last week. It shouldn't be too hard to do one from the other to switch. So I'm still sticking to it, but I also don't want to make you too overwhelmed with what's going on. So we'll make sure we have both, because you want to show off this thing on a mobile device, right? Websites are no longer the way they were. It's a thing of the past now. Most people use mobile phones. So whether you're doing a website, it has to be responsive. All right. So this is your pretty much handout for the next project. Okay. Designing a website prototype that will reflect your graphic design online portfolio. It's a good practice to produce a low fidelity wireframe mockup. So I do want to see that. Okay. Whether it's paper or grayscale stuff done in Illustrator or some other programs. Then you will then produce the high fidelity in Figma. And I do apologize. I got so caught up with stuff and that I was doing. I have to change this to Figma. So please remember it's Figma. And look, even if you do it in XD, I mean, you can hand it in, but it's for your own good. Figma is the way to go. This is why I want to enforce Figma with the lessons. Okay. So Figma. Okay. So I'll change that. So the research is done. You don't have to do this part. This is you collecting your portfolio. Often I had students taking this course without a portfolio, so they didn't know what to do. So this was the reason why I added the research component to research or collect resources for their portfolio. And that's why that's there. For you guys, it might not be applicable because you have a portfolio class. You're already conducting your research and your collection, and you're doing your your planning and your orchestrating how your portfolio will be displayed. Okay, the sitemap is something you have to do because you have to create a plan how this will look like. So you're going to create a sitemap that displays your visual hierarchy of the pages required based on what exists. You may find your redesign or collapse sections together, create new ones altogether. Basically, you can change this as time goes on based on your portfolio structure. Wireframing is optional. However, it will be considered as an added bonus to your submission. So I do want to see wireframes. I always, you know, support you guys doing your planning methods and stuff. And finally, this will result in a prototype. Okay, the final component, it'll be an interactive, high fidelity prototype of the website. Okay, so it'll look like a website, but it'll be done in Figma. It should include your full digital portfolio design and animations, interactions. Your prototype will be built in, again, Figma. So I'm going to change this, and will feature the key pages you identified in your site plan along with your work. Now, when this is all done, the last thing, and this is like right to the very end, we're going to do a mobile conversion because I do want to make sure you know how to do that as well. And like I said, I'll give you an extra week if we need to get this part done, but I do want to help you, but not stress you out. Don't think about that until later. The last part is to convert this into an app. Okay, you did an app already in XD. I want you to have an app done in Figma. So you go to your portfolio. You got guns blazing, as they say. You got both applications in your arsenal. You can say, look, did this in Figma. I did this app in XD. So that completes your knowledge in all these areas of UX UI requirements. Okay. Of course, there will be a few ideas suggested in class to guide you through your decision-making process. The final submission, you're going to be uploading in Blackboard, and you're going to share a link. I'll show you how the link works. It looks like a real website. All right, so now here's the thing about this one, because I'm going to give you as much time as necessary. So this one's going to be due. When's the last week of school? Do you guys know? This is the last week of school, right? Hold on. This is week 12, class 11. Week 13, week 14, week 15. Okay, so I know everything's due that week, so I'm just gonna push it as much as I can. May have it due on the 23rd.
Last day it's the 17th.
Sorry?
I think the last day it's the 17th.
Or is it the 17th?
Yeah, I think so.
But this is week 12 though.
Sorry, 18. Yeah.
Oh, the 18th is okay. So then I'll tell you what, I'll give you till the 19th then. You'll get till the end of the week because I gotta probably get the marks done on the weekend. So the 19th, okay, do your best to do by the 19th. But if this is week 12, oh, I'm sorry. You know what, guys? It's the medication. I'm sorry. I counted this as week 12. This is not week 12. This is week 12. Okay, so we're in this is today's week 12. And then week 13. Yeah, I apologize. So 13, 14, 15. So on the 16th is our last class. I'm going to give you till Friday to get this done because I want the mobile version done too. So the 19th is when this is due, okay? Sounds good? And if you want to submit it by the 16th, that's fine. But if you're missing the mobile part, I'll give the whole thing till the 19th. All right, so that's that, and that's saved. All right. So all in all, I think that should be pretty good. And you'll have a nice portfolio to showcase your work with, not just XD, but in Figma as well. It'll be a nice little extension. Okay. So what's next? Let's go to the exercises now. We have class 11 and 12. So this is, I just went over the website desktop prototype. This is some of the wires. Okay, these are done in XD. So what I'm going to do is probably just give you this is not going to be helpful at all to you. It's an XD file. So I'm going to upload the PNG files that I extracted from here. I'm going to delete this actually right now and upload this other thing that this morning I was just honestly trying to organize everything for us going forward with this stuff. So I'm going to give you all the, I think this is it right here. So this is some of the UI kit examples that you can use, some of the elements to help you. These are SVG files. So if you open these up, they look like this. You're gonna have to literally open these in Illustrator, modify them, or copy and paste them into Figma, okay? Because they're XD files, and you can't open XD into Figma. That's just how it is. But it also gives you an idea how you can lay out your thumbnails. So this would be good for like some kind of a, pricing plan. If you're doing a website that includes some kind of a structure, this could be even a portfolio section, right? You won't have prices obviously, but you can have list of items. I've seen a lot of students get creative with these UI kit samples. Okay. All right. So then you have this one here. Yes, you have lots of these are all SVG files for you to utilize and work with. I'll even show you how to bring some of these in if you want to use some of them and modify them and basically, have them, help you guys build some of your items there, right? Lots of ideas. There we go there. And you can get tons of UI kits online as well. Okay, there's like a color scheme here. Where's this? There's some of the icons if you want. Right? So you can get lots of stuff here. These are all for you. Okay, so I'm going to compress this folder here. All right, and this compressed folder will be included in your. I'll keep it in this class over here. So I'm going to go add, and I'm going to upload the zip file. Okay, so there you have it. Okay, so there you go. And this could be used for your own use there. Okay, so now let's go ahead and open up this. Well, before, let me do an exercise with you in Figma just to cover some of the interactive stuff, components where we left off. And then we're going to move on to this basic web prototype. This is an XD file, but today I'm going to rebuild this whole website with you in Figma. Okay, so we're going to do it right from scratch, and this recording will cover everything that you need to have. Okay, so let's go ahead and download this file. And then I'm going to open up this XD file just to show you what it is. And then next week, I'm going to show you a different approach on building the website. We'll do some other tactics and techniques that some of you might want to apply. But today's going to be a traditional page-to-page navigation with deprecated states. We're going to have some animation, if perhaps. You can do some functionality with interactions with the buttons and some switches and hovers and things like that. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. This is a very simple 4-page, portfolio setup. Keep in mind, we're going to expand this further into other pages as you go inside a portfolio section. You can show off some other stuff as well. So for now, though, we're going to focus on building the foundation, and then next week we'll expand on the portfolio stuff and how to do in a more interactive, like a carousel or a thumbnail and other kind of things. So this is again in XD. Okay, so we're going to rebuild this in Figma, and we're going to make it function exactly like this. So let's see exactly how this works. Notice how this home page is bigger than the rest. This is the about page. Okay, this is the portfolio page, and this is another portfolio page, I guess. Oh, this is a contact page. Right. And I use some of the UI kit examples that we had from the other example there, and I put into this one. All right, so let's go ahead and play this. I'm going to select this one, hit the play button, and this is basically, just a simple little example that we built in class. We did the buttons here. So if you click on the button, notice how it's deprecated and it highlights to that section that it's landing on. We borrowed some images from, I guess, online and stuff. Copying and pasted some text, some titles. So home, okay, and you can scroll. This is also a scrollable menu. So you're gonna have like thumbnails here of your portfolio work, okay? then this might be some other thing you want to talk about. Maybe one of your portfolio showcases, maybe a competition you're entering. Some of you did express your interest in things that you're doing outside of school. You can definitely make this page look as authentic as possible and as creative as possible too. And these are some of the, I don't know, I guess at the time I had these dental images from AutoCAD we're using, but just to show you, you can do lots of different scrollable menus, wherever they happen to be to make this thing look interactive. Okay. Notice how we have the social media buttons up top. So they can go, you don't even have to link these, but if you want to, you can. So they go to their respective platforms. And then you have the bio button. Give me 1 second. Um, okay, so the bio button basically, again, you click on it, it deprecates, it lands on this page. Same thing goes. You have a different page altogether. Then you have a portfolio page. All right. And this is where you might have your portfolio carousel thing happening. Okay. With multiple thumbnails showcasing different categories. Okay. It's always important that you write some description on what this piece is. So don't just put a thumbnail with no content. You got to put content to give a brief description of your work. Okay. It's very important. Some of the methods that you use perhaps in Photoshop or Illustrator or, InDesign. Okay. These are very important techniques you want to showcase in your portfolio under your graphic design stuff. Okay. Then you have your contact page. All right. So you can either have like your, doesn't hurt to have your profile picture there, your contact info, email, phone number. I wouldn't put your home address, but I would put some of your main contact info, some of your handles that you have on social media. This is a popular thing these days, and some other related, items that pertain to you. Contact form, maybe. I'm not big on contact forms because they're prone to viruses. But if you do want to have a contact form, you can definitely put one on your website. If you want to dress one up here, you can also put a little, contact form. That's okay as well. So whatever you want to do is up to you. The point is, you build this little page, and this becomes an actual prototype for your website. I'm even going to show you how to have this set up into, I guess, HTML, because you can definitely, people that don't know how websites look, you can, I don't want to use the word fool them, but you can load this up on a browser as a link. When people click on it, they'll think it's a real website. Okay. This is what's cool about this stuff. So how do you do that is you basically go over here when you do the prototype. This is how the prototype works. And I know I'm in XD right now, so I'm going to switch it to Figma in a moment, but it's the same thing. This share thing is the same thing. So you're going to go to let's create the link right now. So the link goes two ways. You can click on this little button here, okay, and you can copy the code of this link. Once you copy the code, okay, you can go like in an HTML, um, software. You guys using Visual Basics or whatever, okay? Look, I'll use text edit. Text edit is as simple as it gets. I'll create a new document. I should have used brackets or something, but I'll hit Command V, okay? So I just pasted this in an iframe, okay? All this is an iframe code that's showcasing your website from Adobe XD or Figma. Okay, same thing with Figma. It produces a code that you can copy and paste. All right, and that can be your website prototype in HTML. The thing is, you have to dress this up like a website, so you can keep it very simple. Even do a nice little design in Felicia's class. Let's say this is a separate one from your portfolio though, because obviously that one's going to be done, based on the requirements. You have to do a responsive version and all that stuff. But for this, just a website, just a simple HTML, right? I guess I'm going to put a head tag, right? I'll put a title. So please use a capital here. Here's a title tag. Here's another title tag. Whoops, right? The head tag, of course, the title goes in the head, if I remember correctly. Then I'll close the head tag, right? So I have all the basic stuff here. And you can put, my portfolio. All right. Okay, so you can put your stuff here. And then, of course, this will be in the body tags. You can put a body tag in here. And then here you close the body, right? Right, like that. So as you know, your HTML stuff there, and then you close the HTML, right? Now you can make it more modern, like you can put the CSS and all the other tags, but just a simple website structure, your semantic tags go there. You can present a website of your prototype just like that, okay? The only thing I like to do is center it and match this color with this nice green. So let me first save this and show you how nice this could be, even as a portfolio, like you want to show it off. You want to do like a quick mock-up for a client, and you don't want to do HTML, well, you can just do it in Figma and convert your share files in HTML. Like this is like a little cheat code for you guys. Cheat code meaning when you integrate Figma with your presentations and going forward, not in Felicia's class because he's gonna obviously catch this. But to fool the normal person, yeah, they won't know the difference between a website and doing this. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So let's go ahead and save this as, I'm going to call this prototype, and I'm going to definitely put HTML as an extension because then it's going to be considered a website. And I should call it index. If I'm going to put this on a server, like a real website, I'll call it index. Okay. So index, I'll call it prototype. So it's properly prototype. All right. And this will be just left alone on the desktop. Let's hit save. And that's how it is, right? So now what happens is when I do open this, right? Let me make this bigger. Enable all. Is the website. I don't know why this came up here though, the title. But mind you, look, it's a fully functioning website on a browser. Like basically, people think it's a website, but it's not. All it is a file that I embedded with XD or Figma into HTML, and you can show people a prototype on the web. So it looks like a website. No, I just don't like how this is presented here. So I'm gonna let's do some minor tweaks to show you how you can really fix this up quickly. I'm gonna open this in text edit. Make sure you don't double click because it's gonna open up the browser. I'll just go quickly here. Oh, look what happened. I did a typo here, guys. Thanks for correcting me, by the way. I'm kidding. So title. Okay. Here's what else I'm gonna put. I'm gonna put center because I want it to be centered. All right. I don't want it to be kind of like to the left because if you look at if you look at this, well, it's centered now. Anyways, put the center tag. It's automatically updated. All right, that's fine. So make sure it's centered. Okay. You can also put BG color. Okay. So to match it to the actual color of the green or whatever color you have in your Figma or XD file. And trust me, I'll do this in Figma later, I promise. Okay. So let me just get this green color here. I'm going to go back to design. There's the look, hashtag C3E05F. So I'm going to copy that code, right click, copy C3E. Basically, I'm copying this green background. I'm going to go back to my text editor or whatever, Visual Studio, whatever. And I'm just copying the background color to be that color. All right. I'm going to hit save. And this is pretty much how you can dress up a website into HTML, and no one will know the difference but you, of course. Let me see that. Where's the background here? Oh, maybe it did I do the background color? Maybe I mixed up maybe some of my hashtags and stuff. Let me see here. C3E. Let's see. Oh, look at this, guys. Some rookie man. I forgot the equal sign. You got to put equals Otherwise, it won't work. So you got to put the equal sign. And this is the most raw HTML you can use. Look how simple this is. I'm not doing any fancy stuff that you guys are doing in your web class with Felice, because you don't have to. If you do a simple, like a simple little, presentation like this, just a quick little, you know, iframe and a tag. You could make this more extensive, of course, and put all the proper validation tags and stuff like that, right? But I'm just keeping it raw to the bones here, okay? I put the BG color tag now, hit refresh, and there we go. Okay, so basically now, not only I made the website look nice, I also extended it to the color, so it looks nice and clean, guys. Check this out. Okay, there's my bio page. See how nice it looks when it's presented on the browser. Okay, and contact, and all this, all done in, look, under 5 minutes. Okay, under 5 minutes, I made a website of a prototype in the browser. And if people click on a link and they open this up, this is what's going to look like. I don't even need a server. This is free. Okay. The only thing is it's not a www dot whatever. But if you want to buy a domain name and put an index page and drop this in there, you can. Okay. So there's a lot of benefits of doing this. It's a nice little formula, a trick to know. Okay. Here's the downside. There's always a downside, right? You can't, the SEO won't work because this is not content in HTML. That's one thing. And when you do this, it won't resize. Okay, so it won't give you the mobile version unless you do some kind of trickery with CSS or JavaScript. You can probably hack it, but the whole point to do this is to show your clients or your future, potential clients what this will look like on the browser, and then of course then the project budget goes through and stuff like that. Really beautiful how you can execute from XD or Figma to HTML. All right, so that was all just doing a simple, very basic HTML file like this one. I'm gonna put this file if you want in your lesson folder, but nonetheless, I'm gonna show you how to do this in Figma. And the only thing was this iframe here. Okay, that's what made this work. Look, 1500 was the width, 1062 is the height, and the background color, I matched the same green, and I put a title inside my basic tag. All right, so let's go ahead and now do this let's go to Figma right now. All right, so here we're in Figma. I prepared another this is where we left off last week. Mm. So I wanted to show you how to kind of get comfortable with these components and how they work. So we did do some multiple. Hold on, I think we did another one. This wasn't the one. This was the one. I think we bumped into a little bit of an obstacle doing this the first time. So I made you do it the second time because that's how, things are learned properly. You do it again and again. If you open this up, you'll notice there's a click state. Remember, we made a hover state, we made a default state. So we did this thoroughly in class, and you were able to do 3 states. And the reason why I did 3 states is because you want to be able to do almost anything. Because look at realistically what you can do on a website or an app. You can click, you can hover. Well, hovering only works on desktops. You don't hover on a mobile. So if you're doing a website, you can do hover state and click states, which you are doing a website. But if you're doing a mobile app, no hover state, please. No need. Okay. In result, we took all these different states, we connected them using the prototype panel here, and then we created a frame which matched like a website size that we did. And the frame, make sure when you drag this in, you go to assets, and this is the asset called rectangle. We can name it button or whatever. And this is what we dragged to the stage or the frame or the website. And then we just duplicated it, and we duplicated it across to the right, and we duplicated it vertically down, and we made a whole array of buttons that acted like interactive elements. End result was this. You can just go, and we had like clickable states and rollover states, and when you unclick them, they go back to normal states. Okay, so it was a nice little presentation on how to utilize Figma to the full potential. Okay, how it works. All right. So now let's go forward. Let's see what else we can do with this knowledge and how to actually, put this on a real life scenario. Okay, so right now the UI kit will be done, primarily using that example. But let's just make a simple, here's another exercise I did here just to prepare something for today's lesson. So this is how you can do like sliders and buttons and stuff. So maybe perhaps we can follow up with this next. And then maybe I'll add one more. I'll add like a button here. So you'll have like sliders, check buttons, and buttons. Okay. So you can have that. And I don't know if in your portfolio you might use this, but if you want to add it in there for whatever reason, you can. But I just want to show you, because the more you know, the more you can utilize that knowledge to do some other complicated components and stuff. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and build a UI kit together right now. Let me just pause quickly and see if you have any questions. This is recording right now, so I like to keep everything kind of going forward. Let me just go back, making sure my recording's on. Everyone's good. Everyone's okay here. All right. Okay, very good. All right. So in that case, I'm just going to keep on going. So we're going to start with a new file in Figma. Just to show you what this is, just to show you how this is displayed here. I was preparing some things for us today. These are like basic switches, so you can turn them on and off. It's not as simple as the button that we did last week, but it's a little more advanced with animation and stuff. Put it this way, you can actually click here and you can load some of your portfolio stuff. You can click here and it'll shut it off, or maybe it's for navigation. You can just get creative as you want. You can just have them there, not do anything, just for visual eye candy purposes will work as well. Okay. These are sliders, so I want to show you how to do a slider. Notice how the button changes color from left to right. So yes, you can do sliders. Like, look, I'm dragging left and right. But eventually, when you release it, halfway point here, it goes this way, halfway goes that way. Okay, so this is how sliders work. And that's how you can just demonstrate how sliders will be effective in your, whatever mobile app or prototype that you're making. So I'm going to show you how to do sliders. I'm going to show you how to do switches, okay? Sliders and switches, as well as a review of where we left off last week. I want to do rollovers and clicks. So based on these three interactive principles, I've looked at a lot of the other tutorials online and other things. Everything's revolving around this basically, because from this you can then elevate it to or scale it up to almost anything, whether it's a portfolio gallery or clicking on thumbnails and things like that. Okay, so but once you master this, the other stuff is pretty much easy to follow. All right, so let's go ahead and build that right now. We'll start with the new file. I like to keep it fresh. I'm going to keep this open as a background just for reference. In case I do make a mistake, I can backtrack my steps. I'm going to ask you to do the same thing if you're following me. I'm going to go and go to the new tab here. Okay, so new file, a new design file. All right, and this will be, I'll call it UI kit starter. Okay, so this is my UI kit starter that I'm going to create. I'm going to go ahead and make a new artboard. Click on the artboard tool. Don't forget the frame tool is your main tool in Figma. Not just creates artboards, but kind of like sections within artboards that do more stuff. Speaking of sections, there's also a section tool as well and a slice tool. I'll be honest with you, I never had the use of these, but the section more so, because you could create a section with your components, let's say. It's call it like an area that you can hold and have it labeled for people to understand what it is. It's like a section, but it's not really a live area, if you know what I mean. The frame is your live area. That's like your main page for your display functionality. So stick to frames, and that's all I have to say for that. Okay, so let's go to frame tool, draw frame, right? We can then click on the top left here. We can say what kind of frame do we want. Well, we can basically select the size from here. Just look for the word frame. I know it's hard to notice sometimes. Make sure you're in design, not prototype. And from the frame option here, you can choose whether you want to do like a mobile artboard. You can do a Surface Pro, like Windows artboard, or you can do a MacBook Air artboard, which is 1280 by 832. I like this one. Honestly, it's a pretty neat combination of a size. I used to favor the desktop, the larger one, but this one works just nice. Like it's a nice size, easier to work with, 1280 by 832. Okay. So you can pick either or, whatever works for you, as long as you don't pick something that's absurd and doesn't work within the realm of the criteria. So any one of these you can use. You can use the 1440, you can use 1280, you can use even 1512. When you go to the bigger sizes, the problem is with those, it might not fit on the smaller monitors, and you can't really do an auto scale because it's not going to work just like that. So just stick with the ones that are more. Don't go less than this though. Like don't go under 1280. Okay. So 1280, 1440, they're all good. Okay. So keep that in mind. So therefore, this is going to be that size. I'm going to move this over and I'm going to create a section just to show you what sections do. I'm going to create a section over here, and the sections will hold my interactive components in place, which then I can utilize and integrate into my website or my frame. So I'm going to keep the sections for that purpose and keep the frame for that purpose. All right. Now let's go ahead and make some of the elements that we want to make. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the highlight the section field. Whatever I place will be in the section area. Let's start with a simple button. I'm going to use the rectangle tool and just draw a simple rectangle shape like this, right? Notice I don't see the rounded corner option, not until I zoom in. I'm holding Control or Command on the Mac. Deselect, reselect. Maybe you got to go a little more. And then you can see the little rounded buttons. I frequently get asked questions like, hey, how come I can't round the corners? You got to zoom in to see these things, because if you zoom out, it's very hard to concentrate on some of the things that are there. So this is my, a button, very simple button. Maybe I'll change the color to maybe a darker gray for now. Will this be visible? Yeah, it's visible. Okay, that's fine. So this is a simple button that I'm going to use. And to make it a more interactive button, I'm going to make it a component. So right away, I'm going to go up here. Okay. Not edit, because edit is when you want to edit the object. That's like double clicking on it. The same thing. Then you can start doing stuff like this, right? So there's no need to do that. If you do, you could edit the object, but the next one is basically a create component. And the last one is use as a mask, which if you do some more advanced, it's like a clipping mask kind of thing, you can. Again, if you have a use for that, you could. Otherwise, frames do good masking job as well. This is really not necessary either, to be honest with you, until you get some more really advanced stuff going. Okay. So for now, let's keep it simple. Here's the button. Let's create a component right here. Command, Option, Command K, or you can press Alt Control K on a PC. I think that's the right shortcut. If you press the button, notice how this highlights as a purple attribute, and then you know that's a rectangle of the actual component. We can rename it button, okay? We'll call it like simple button, because it is going to be a simple button. Okay, so it says simple button right on it. It's important to name things because later on when you recall these assets and you go to the assets tab, it is going to be called, your section 1 will have the simple button. Okay, so you have all the sections will display the components that are part of it. So there's the name, there's the section, and there's your assets. Assets is where you hold your items, like library items. Like the library panel in Illustrator, it holds all your items that you can reuse over and over again. And this is what makes it very, very, um, what's the word I'm looking for here? Very flexible, okay? Very flexible and dynamic, because then you can reuse the same button to multiple states and multiple pages without, recreating it like 3 different times. You can just reuse the same one, and then you can edit it later and do some nice, interesting things. Okay, so let's keep building on this. We have the button. There's the simple button here. We're gonna now create like maybe a hover state. Okay, I'm just gonna do a hover state. I'll save the click state for a separate thing. I'm gonna limit my states to 2, just to keep it simple. Because realistically, you're not gonna do click, drag, hover all in one. It's one or the other. You either click or you hover, mobile or you do desktop, that kind of stuff. And it adds more confusion if I do more states. So I'm going to click on this button here. This adds a variance. Remember, we made fun of the variant last week. The variant is what creates the next state. So if you add a variance, this is what happens when you either click or hover or whatever. So this is when you make the change now, variant 2. But to make the change of the rectangle, you have to double click, okay, or go inside the variant, which is the rectangle that resides in this variant, okay? So variant and the rectangle. Let's rename the word variant. We'll call it hover. So when it says property 1 equals variant 2, just rename variant 2 hover state, okay? Like we did last week, right? So now it's called hover state. So the rectangle is our hover state. But to change the color, you have to click on the rectangle. Open these little things up. See these little triangles? I know they're small, but click on them to select the items within the states. Now this, of course, will go over here. We'll change the color to this one here. Nice purple. Perfect. Okay. So we have hover normal state, hover state. Very simple. Now let's connect these two. To do that, we're going to go over to the right where it says prototype. We're going to go to the prototype tab and make this button function as an actual button. Zoom in. Let's go like that. So here we have rectangle 1, rectangle 2. You don't have to rename the rectangle. Okay, just leave that alone. But definitely this is the default. And you can close these now because now we're dealing with the states. Once we change the color of the rectangles, right? This is gray, this one's purple. Now it's time to close these. It just keeps it easier, okay? Default is fine. That's the default state. This is the hover state, okay? And if I want to change the order of these, I can actually move this one here. So it's top and bottom. It's just top and bottom if it makes visual sense. I'm going to literally go to prototype and drag this connector to the next state. Literally drag and drop. And what you'll see is a little arrow pointing down this way. And this creates the event of what happens when you do interact with the button. Since we decided to do a hover state, the best one is, like, these are the main ones here, okay? This one sometimes, but these are the top 3. Dragging, which we're going to use with sliders. Hovering, we're going to use now. And clicking is when you navigate. So these are the main 3. Pressing is too tedious. It's when you hold the mouse and you drag something. We could try it, okay? And gamepad is when you use like a keyboard integrated function, like a video game or something, which you're not going to do. These other ones are very, very tedious, okay? If you do like a really tedious interaction with enter and leaving, honestly, there's no point of using these unless you're doing something really intricate with states. These are the main ones. This is why they're classified the way they are right here. So let's stick with these. We're going to go while hovering. Hovering means while the mouse is on top of this button, it'll change to, okay, hover state, which remember I called it hover state. I named it instead of, state 2 or whatever the name was. So change to property 1, which is hover state, okay? And that's going to happen instantly, okay? Instantly, instant. All right, and that's it. Just close it down and we're done. This is all you have to do, okay? Just connect, because what happens is when you don't hover, it should go back to the default state by itself. So you don't have to do anything else but this. All right, now let's go ahead and see what this looks like. So to do that, we don't drag this here because you can screw up or mess up your component. So don't do that. Go to assets and grab the actual asset to the stage. You understand? So that's how you can grab your stuff here. And let's make I don't know, we'll do like a website menu of some kind. I'll create like a nice top bar here. Let's put some design in there. Do a nice rectangle thing, right? Go back to design and change this to maybe a different color. I'll go with the darker one, that's fine. And I'll send this to the back. No, I'm just gonna make it a little lighter. There we go. All right. Now I'm gonna bring this to the front instead of the back. So select the button. And again, if you go to layers, you can see where everything's at. You can just drag it on top, okay? Or you can drag it in the back. So this is the button that's gonna be on top of this bar. I'll even lock this so it's not really there. The height, I'll make it 1. 40, a nice even number. How do I lock this? Okay, basically we're gonna go right click. You can press lock or unlock. You can do that. Okay, so I can just lock it. Just so accidentally I don't drag it and move out of the way. I can freely select this without interrupting that. All right, so there's my button right here. Let's test it first before we go forward. I'm gonna hit the play button here. You can do present or preview. Okay, I'll do present just to do a presentation. And what's nice about presentation is we did pick the MacBook Air. It's going to do a beautiful MacBook Air design, and it'll actually work with our interactions. So it's kind of cool. All right, so this is how now that the button works, let's go ahead and create the rest of them just by simply going Option, Drag, Shift, right? And then Command D, Command D. I got 4 buttons, and that's going to be maybe my website menu. Of course, it's going to be smaller when you guys do a real website, but right now I just want to keep it nice and enlarged so we can see it proper. Okay, so there we go, nice and centered, right? So now after I press the play button, we'll have this kind of like a website desktop view of the buttons. Okay, perfect. Next, let's go now create some other components that we can interact with on our UI kit, because this might be like a basic interface with the UI kit included. Oh, by the way, you could, once you create these buttons here, see here, you could go inside and add more stuff, right? Like because these are instances, these are copies of the real thing, right? So basically, if you let's say you want to create like real buttons, for example, right? You could go inside the button, but make sure you're like, when I say inside, I mean like there's a rectangle, right? You can click on the rectangle outside the button. You can go to the type tool, right? You can go and put some text in here, right? And type home button, right? I'm gonna make this a little bigger. I'm holding Command Shift greater than. Okay, so this will be like the home button, and I can center this according. Notice it gives me the smart guides. I can center both and use the align buttons here, whatever you find comfortable. But this is still not inside this. Look, it's out here. So I'm going to drag this down here. So it's inside the rectangle. Okay. I don't think it'll let me because it's a separate one. Okay, nonetheless, I can still put it on top and make it look like an actual visual thing. It'll still work, okay? Maybe it's easier if I do it that way, because then I'll do Option, Drag, Shift. Here's another one, Command D, step and repeat. This one will be called About. This one will be called Portfolio. Okay. And again, look at this. When I drag them, they center automatically like a smart guide. And this will be Contact, right? That's right there. So you have there's your portfolio kind of layouts. And again, as far as design goes, when you do the website, it's going to look nicer and neater and smaller. You're going to have a logo here, social media. This will look a lot better, which is doing a very simple, integration of what I'm showing you. All right. So nonetheless, press play. You have your, now you have like a portfolio kind of design. And, you can still showcase what this looks like. You can put stuff on top, is what I'm saying. All right. All right, so let's do the other interactive stuff that you might want to put. Let's put some buttons in there, some sliders, some switches. So this was a hover state. So now let's go design a click state. And the click state will be, I'm going to go back to my section here. I'm going to go back to design. And in this one, I'm going to just zoom in slowly here and create something else. Buttons, make it like that. This could be like a like button or a little heart that I'm going to show you how to copy and paste in from like the SVG UI kit I supplied you with earlier. I'll do a switch first, and then I'll do like a like or a star or something like that, which some of you integrated in your app, which was good to see. So I'm just going to do I can do copy and paste. Look, option drag. I can just copy and paste the button, make a smaller version and fit this one here, and just change the color to purple. So this will be like a little switch, right? So this is a little switch. Notice I selected two things. So now I'm going to show you how to do an advanced button. So because it involves more than one element. So you have a rectangle on top of another rectangle. And you can have multiple things. It just gets more complicated. That's all. So if that's the case, you select both of them. Oops, I moved the whole section. So you select both of them. So here's the trick when you do a section. Like don't click here and then do this. It'll just move the whole thing. Rather than go inside the area here, like the blank area, don't touch the edges. So when you select this, right click, okay, create component, or just go over here and go to create component. So now there's another component here. Let's rename this one. We'll call this switch or button switch or switch button. Okay, I use camel case, capital S, capital B. And within that, I'm going to create a variant, and this will be like the changing states. This will be a clickable variant. So I'm going to go up here where it says add a variant, and that'll give me that second rectangle. Notice how I'm keeping this nice and organized. This is my live area. This is my sandbox area. This is where I design stuff like buttons and switches and stuff. And then assets is where I call them out and I drag them to my live area. That's what I like about, I kind of like Figma more and more now. It's hard to transition from one program to another. I find that uh, the only things that haven't changed in my life are Photoshop and Illustrator. Everything else has changed. From InDesign, we use Quark Express. We had to switch to InDesign. Okay, from XD, we're switching to Figma. From Director, I had to switch to Flash. From Flash, I had to switch to HTML5. So everything was like changing and evolving over the past few decades. But you know, this is how things are. Once you learn one tool, you can apply the same skills to another one. All right. Photoshop and Illustrator is the only programs that haven't changed. Okay, because InDesign even came out, you know, early 2000s, mid 2000s became industry standard. So, you know, it is what it is, right? So my point is to like a software, it does take a little effort and you know, practicing and stuff. I get used to XD so much. I can do pretty much a lot of things in XD that I probably can't do as fast and efficient in Figma. But I'm getting there because I just started using Figma. Well, I used Figma from the back in the day, but they do upgrade it quite a bit. So to bring my Figma level to my XD level, you know, it's almost there. But I love it more and more the more I see some of the things I can do. So the takeaway is I love how Figma has the components separately stored in this area and how you can just bring them in from here to there. Okay, so you know it's definitely earning the spot in my favoritism when it comes to the two softwares right now. All right, so let's continue this switch tool here. We have the other variant. So this is when you make the change. So go back to layers. I'm gonna double click for a second. So I have the two, right? Double click means I'm inside the variant two. I'm gonna keep these names alone. I don't have to change this. Like I call this Humber state. I'll keep this variant two because that's the second variant. This is the default variant. So the variant two, I'm gonna move this little rectangle to the other side. And this will be an animated interaction. Not only that, I can change the color as well. So this being purple, I'll change it to maybe red or green. I think green's nicer, right? So it'll go from like an on switch. Green is on, right? So it'll go from purple to green, and it'll also move from left to right. So you can do animations within the variant to make that happen. But the thing is, you have to remember is how does this happen? Is once you make the changes, then you deselect. Don't forget to close your, you know, sub-level categories and layers here. So you have your default, and then you have your variant two. Okay. So now let's make the prototype. Just like we did up here, we're going to do the same thing down here. The difference is instead of changing the color, I changed the position of the rectangle and I changed the color as well. So I did two changes, movement and color change. So now we're going to go up here under prototype. You got to be in here. Okay. And then once you're in prototype, you're able to drag this default state to the variant 2 state like that. And this will be a click. We did hovering on this one up here. Now we're going to explore the click state. When we click on this, what's going to happen is going to change to variant 2, which is this one, right? And it's going to happen instantly. Now, here's the only thing you have to remember. It'll still work if you do instant, but animation will work even better. Smart Animate. But I'm going to show you the difference between the two. And I'll even do dissolve if you want. There's only 3, right? There's more, but these ones don't work because of the they're only integrated with artboards. These are integrated with elements. So let's leave it alone. Let's just do change to, variant to instance. Fine. But then what we have to change it back is when you switch again, it goes back to the original. So let's connect this one back to the first one. Notice how we didn't have to do it for this one up here because hovering is very special. Hovering, think of the word hovering. So while you're hovering, the state changes. As soon as you mouse leave, it goes back to normal. So we didn't have to do this to go back to that. For this one, we do because it's a click and a click to go back. So 2 clicks, click on, click off. So on click, change to default, which is the default. And that's instantly going to happen. And we're done. Let's see how this works. Go back to assets, zoom out, drag my smart button all the way here. Oh, I'm sorry. I think I put that wrong.
Supposed to be the other one.
The switch. Yes, thank you. The switch button. The medication, man. All right. So I'm going to bring this one here over here. Perfect. And this will be like one of those, maybe like it'll change the theme, dark theme, light theme button or something. Who knows, right? We're going to put these over here, put some switches, maybe some thumbnails or something. Whatever you want to apply this on, it'll work. All right. So maybe we'll do the switches. We'll put one down here. Nice switch. How do I center this perfectly? By the way, go to design view. There's you can do this way. You can go up here. Look, left, center, right. I'm going to go perfectly centered. All right. And this will be the switch. Let's put it in the middle here. All right. Let's test it out. Okay. So the rollovers work. The switch is on, off, right? Not bad, right? The switch. Wouldn't it be nicer if you see a nice, smooth, animated movement when you do click, so it's not so abrupt? I'll be honest with you, this also works like a like button on Facebook or Instagram, which you can do. But if you want to do an animation, then it's better that you do the auto animate, which is what I'm getting at. So to smoothen this out, so you watch, you don't have to even do anything. You can just go back and edit this. Once you edit the original, it'll update the duplicate. Okay. So basically, when we go back here now, back to prototype, we're going to say, listen, instead of click, right? Well, click stays. Variant 2, if you click on it, you'll see the actual events. You can also do it this way. You can also do it this way, okay? But I like to use the menu here, just because you can see it nice and clear, right? So click on the button. It'll display what we did. We clicked, and we changed it to variant 2. And we did an instant switch. But the difference is now, we're going to do, well, let's try dissolve, just to show you all 3, right? And this one too, same thing, click, change to property 1, dissolve. What dissolve will give you is a smoother transition. Still not my favorite. I saved the best for last, which is animate. But it'll look like this now. It's like a transition. So totally doesn't fit the narrative here. That just doesn't really work. It might work with maybe thumbnails. Your image changes to another image, like you see in video transitions. That might work. But for the switch, no. All right, but I wanted to cover all 3 to show you, so that's why I'm showing you all 3. So the last one that we have left here from clicking to changing it to, instead of dissolve, I'm going to do what's called smart animate. And this will animate the movement from point A to point B, which is already established by default as we move this from there to there. Same thing here. This, the click change to default, but instead of dissolve, I'm going to do smart animate. So I could have done this from the get-go, but I would have shown you the difference of these. So I wanted to show you all three so you thoroughly understand how this stuff works. As I did promise you, I'm going to do that today. That's what I'm doing. All right. So now I did a thorough animation switch of a button, which means, if you have all kinds of buttons here on the side, option drag, and we've got some buttons here, right? And we got some more buttons on the left side here. For whatever reason, maybe we're showcasing some extra little things that are happening, right? And if I press the play button here, okay, so now we have the hover states, and we have our smooth, interacting, animated buttons. Very cool. See, and you can like leave one off, turn one on, back and forth. A very nice way to integrate with your interactions. All right, so that's how you do the click, smart animate components with the animation. These are simple rollovers. For the desktop, honestly, you can use all these. They're fine. Okay. And now let's finish it off with another one. Okay. It's called a slider. And this is a popular one. I've seen a lot of tutorials on this stuff. People trying to do different versions, and there's some complex ways of doing it. But I'll keep it simple because honestly, at the end of the day, your job is as a designer is to show people what this thing will look like. You don't have to have it perfectly work like you would on a normal phone, because then includes some more coding that's done by the developers. Your job is to make it, somewhat function and get the feel of it, and so it looks like a slider and it works like a slider, right? So let's do the slider down here in our section. So I'm going to go back to design. Always go back to design when you're designing, of course. And this time I'm going to use another element here. I'll use a line tool. Sure. There's a line tool here. I'm going to increase I'll make this purple just so I can see it better. I can increase the stroke weight to 2, so it's thicker. I can also make my the edges round. I can also make an arrow if I like, So this is round. This is round. Very good. If I zoom in, there's my nice little line going across. Let's make it thicker here. There we go. All right. 8, right? So this last interaction that I see a lot of, people use on their interactive presentations is the slider. I don't know if the slider is really going to work in your portfolio, but if you find a way to use it somehow, that's fine. Honestly, I would stick to these two, but it's nice to know this, obviously, because it's a popular item on the list, especially with the mobile devices, right? Because sliders control, brightness on the screen, volume control, playback, things like that, right? Now, in theory or in practice, you can't apply that on. It's not as robust as it is to program this in a real functional way it works on a real YouTube player per se. But for you to showcase that it'll work like that on your prototype, it's a good thing, right? So let's go ahead and make one now. So there's the line. Go back to, I'll use an elliptical tool this time. Just a nice little circle. Look at it from one end. Pull this up a little bit here. Right. So you have two pieces, right? Some people put like percentage numbers. That's a little more tricky. You have to like mask the number and then show you how that works. I mean, I could make this advanced. Let me keep it simple first, and maybe later we can get some more fancy stuff going. And there's a lot of stuff I can show you online too. You can watch these. It's like a 2-hour tutorial on how to do a slider. I mean, I'm not going to spend 2 hours showing you guys how to do this little thing, but I'll show you in a faster amount of time how effective this could be in the way you're going to use it, right? But I'm sure there's tons of stuff out there you guys can watch if you want. All right, so here we have the two things. Let's basically select them both. All right, I'm going to go up here, create the component. So it's component one. I'm going to rename this one and call it slider. So this way everything's named accordingly. So I have uh, the section has the slider, switch button, sample button. I should call this rollover button. Rollover button. When I'm done this, I'm going to share this in our class. So you can have access to this file and you can mess around with it and see how I did it after I'm done today. I'm going to upload this right under class 11 in Blackboard. Okay, so you can have this and you can see how we did all this today. Okay, so next thing is we made a component, we named it slider. Okay, let's create a variant now by clicking up here, add a variant. There's variant 2, that's great. So the variant we'll have now, we'll do, let's make this a little bigger here. So what's going to happen is now the second variant, you can probably guess what's going to happen, right? We're going to select this, double click to select the ellipse or the circle and move it all the way across to the other side. I've seen people do 3, like one's like halfway, then they'll do a third variant, just to show you quickly. Oh, sorry, the plus button. And the third variant, they go that way. Then they do this one to that one. But honestly, the result is the same. It's very minuscule. So I'd rather do 2 to keep it simple. Just to demonstrate this, I'd rather do 2. It's just easier. So let's do from 0 to 100. All right, that's fine. And not only that, we can actually change the color of this to something else. Right. Okay. So now this is a default. This is the variant 2. Okay. So default variant 2 within the slider component that we're making. Okay. Now, there's 2 ways of doing this. You can link the entire thing like we did before, like we did here and there and everywhere else. But the strategy that most people like, and this is something I agree with, is to get the little circle to work. This little circle here is the key, not the whole thing. So this is when you have to be very strategic and double click on the little circle that's inside the default component, if you follow me. So just go inside, double click. So you select the ellipse within the default component. So only the circle selected. You follow me? So if you go like this, if you select this, the whole thing's selected. If you double click, the circle selected. Just don't double click too much because then you're going to go inside this, edit mode. So just double click once and make sure this is selected as the ellipse. Very important. That's why I'm doing it very thoroughly. So I'm going to go to prototype now. And I'm going to select this little connector, the next variant. Okay. And what's going to happen here is we're going to do what's called drag. So we did hovering, we did clicking. Now we're doing dragging. Okay, and dragging is what the next important thing is. So on drag, which is click and drag the mouse. Okay, change to variant 2, which is this green one. Now we're going to also do what's called a smart animate. It's funny, by default they kind of give us that as an option only, which is good. We don't want to and do anything else. So it's kind of animate this to that. Okay. Very cool. Same thing here. You want to select the green circle, not the variant. So double click, make sure you select the circle within the variant, because this is very intricate, okay? And then this will connect back to default. And that'll be not on click, on drag, because it's a slider. You do drag, you press your finger like you would on your phone or your mouse click, you drag, change to default, and again, it's smart animate. That's it. See, they all look a little different, eh? These two go back and forth, but these we went inside the circles. These we selected the whole thing back and forth. And this was just a simple hover state. So all these three things, accommodate for thousands of possibilities that you can come up with. There's fancy things like little heart likes, little stars, little whatever you want to do to make it interactive, you can. Okay, so I'm going to go to assets. All right. Oops. What's going on here? Oh, it's not updating. All right. For some reason, oh, there we go. Sometimes you have to update this little button if it doesn't show up. So just go to local, or all libraries means you can import other libraries. I'll stick with local for now. And there's a slider. Make sure you drag it from here, eh? Very important. You drag it from the library onto your stage. All right. And this is how it's going to be included. And yes, by the way, when you bring it in, okay, it is scalable. You can scale it. That's another good thing. I would restrain from doing that. I just don't like scaling because unpredictable things can happen. So I would just leave them alone. If you can, like, don't scale it. Okay. So let's put this one in the middle here. Maybe we'll do this. Option drag. All right. Option drag over here is another set. All right. Time to test it. Let's go ahead and press the play button. It's all automatically saved, so you don't have to worry about that. All right, so we have the nice rollover. This is while hovering. Very easy, very simple. This is our switches here, okay? And this is our sliders. This one you won't see the little finger hand. It's just how it is, just like here. But you will see this move. Notice how the color changes as I'm moving the button. Now, here's the trick. If you go this way and you let go, it goes back to the beginning. But if you pass the halfway mark, it'll go to the end. So it's definitely a nice way to do a slider type of simulation, right? And that's it. You can go back and forth, right? So this is what makes Figma very special. In comparison to XD. I find it with components, it's a lot more easier to execute and way more versatile in terms of implementing it on your stage. So I'm kind of glad we're, segueing into the software, and hope you guys are enjoying it. And hopefully you find this specific example easy to digest and understand on how this is done. Now, along with that, I will save this as a local file and share it with you. Okay, so you can actually utilize this and, again, dress it up. Like the samples I showed you is what students did in the past. So if you want to do something like that or make it look like something that your website will mimic, that's what I'm looking for. Okay, so let's go to File here. Um, here. Okay, so I'm going to go back to local copy. Okay, so UI UI kit starter Figma, save. Going to upload this for you right now. So this is the file that we produced in Figma. Let me just double click on it. Oh, sorry, it's the wrong one. This is the cool little thing we did in HTML. There's the Figma file because it's got the Figma logo on it. Very good. If you double click on that and you download it to your computer, it should open up your, Figma application, which is your desktop and stuff. Open it. I think because I already have it here, it won't open, but You can import, you can just drag it in there. You can just drag it. I think you have to drag it to your application and then it'll open it. Okay. Once you open it, you can double click and just do this. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead now and start the next part. Okay, I hope you found this, interesting and helpful with your next assignment. So I'm going to put this one away. All right, let me share this with you right now. So all these XD files that I did before have to get converted to Figma files. So under this lesson here, under your first, I gave you the UI kit, like that's your zip files, which I'm gonna utilize in the next example. The basic website prototype draft is an XD file, which we're gonna make in Figma as well. But just to kind of update everything, I'm gonna upload this here. So here's your Figma file that I just did right now for you to have and play with in case you having some kind of a setback on these things. All right, so let's go ahead and save it. And that's going to be visible to you. So this is .fig is your Figma file. All right, let me drag it down here. So it's in the proper hierarchy order. Okay, so now let's build this website quickly, and let's also integrate some of these UI kit desktop files. I can delete that. So I'm going to keep it simple because I'm not going to waste time looking for images and stuff, right? But it'll still be functional in a way that it'll compare to this file here, right? I'll still build this, but I'm not going to look for pictures. Okay, I'll just use rectangles, and later on I'll put some pictures in there and stuff. I don't have a problem with that. All right, so let's go ahead and start with this home page. Okay, notice how XD has like it's called a viewport height, and anything below that, it becomes a scrollable file. Well, Figma doesn't need that because automatically, as long as the width is consistent, it'll scroll downwards. You just have to fix this so it doesn't move. Right? So to mimic this in Figma, I'm going to create a new file. Okay, new design file that is, and I'm going to click on the frame tool. Okay, and we're going to click on the we're going to create a desktop size. So it's 1440. You can do MacBook Air if you want, the one I just did. I'll just switch it up this time. I'll do a desktop, 1440. Okay. So here's 1440, 100 pixels. This is a good one for a website desktop if you want. You can stick with it. And this will be called the home page. I'm just going to double click and call it home page, right? So this is where I'm going to design my very first web page, my landing page per se. You can do an animation if you want. There's something can come in like your logo, and that can kind of go inside your home page. But let's keep it simple for now. We'll get into some more advanced additional stuff next week. I'll get into some more stuff you can add on to your website to make it look nicer, and that's going to happen for the next several weeks. It's going to show you some more tips and tricks on using Figma. Once you understand the fundamentals, which is what I'm showing you now, it's easy to add the rest of the stuff. It's all about working it out, right? So here's the home page. Make sure my still on here because my laptop was almost dead. I had to plug it in, and now that it's charging, sometimes these things do reset. Okay, so everyone's good. Are you guys in the classroom now? I'm just wondering, or are you at home? How many are you in the classroom? Raise your hand if it's yes. Can you guys hear me? Yes? Okay. All right. Good. All right. So I hope I'm keeping you awake there. So let's go ahead and I lost my voice on Thursday. I couldn't even talk. I tried to do a class and I just gave up 5 minutes and I'm like, guys, forget it. I ended up uploading an old video that I was the same lesson and they were fine with that. So I couldn't really even talk. And at least I can talk now. It's better. It's just my lungs are a little heavy and it's hard to kind of move around sometimes too and get aches and stuff. All right, so here we are, home page. So we're gonna go ahead and just to quickly I like to keep things consistent, right? So we're going to create like a simple design like this one. Possibly we'll elongate the width, sorry, the height, so it's vertical. We're going to keep a nice menu across the top and keep it simple. Let's use a rectangle tool for that, right across. We're going to put a nice little menu across as well. So maybe some buttons. I'll use some text elements in this case, right? I also like to keep the numbers nice and even. So I'm going to keep this at 175, for example, right? The text that'll go here will be simply just uh, text buttons that I'm going to make. So I'm going to go ahead and if you want to do rollovers and deprecated buttons, then you have to make components for that as well. So let's go ahead and make a section really quickly. Oops. I'm going to make a section here. I like to differentiate sections from frames just because they're different. So I'm going to create a section here, and this is for my buttons. Right. I mean, honestly, we don't have to. I just want to keep it simple for now. Maybe we don't even have to even do the components yet. Because next week I want to show you how to do like these other advanced stuff with the website. Let's just keep it simple and text for now, just so you can see how a simple prototype will just work fine without, investing heavily on components in this case, which is the simple design. So let's go ahead and use the type tool, like I said earlier. Let's go ahead and click here and type the home button. And yes, you can't resize it this way, but you could switch to the scale tool, which is K, and scale it this way. I kind of like how XD had the little thing here. You can do it automatically, but nonetheless, you can just switch tools. Scale tool does just that, okay? Right, so so that's how you can scale the size. And of course, you can also double click and do the shortcuts this way. I'm going to keep the button nice and large. I know it's a little too big for a real button, but for now, because we're changing it through here, here's the size and the font and all that. 37 points. Wow. Okay, let's go at least 32. I can see it. Okay, so 32 points. Again, bigger than your average button, but just so we can see it now and you can use it, we'll make it even bold, maybe semi-bold, right? And these will be the buttons for our sections. We might have a logo here. The menu might be maybe hugged more to the right. I'll show you some other cool things you can do with the artboard with that. So maybe we'll do the button here, home. Now watch this, Option, drag, shift, okay? And then Command D, Command D. You can basically, do like 4 or 5 buttons if you want. This will be bio, your biography. You can call it biography. This will be your portfolio section. And this is your contact section. So you have your 4 main sections. Now, other is also another section. Other could be your other stuff. You might have some other creative talents that you want to showcase, and that's fine, right? Notice how when I'm doing this, it's giving me an average of 51 pixels of the space. If you can't see that option, you can also do what's called distribute, a horizontal spacing. Okay, that also does the trick. I'm gonna move this over here a bit. Okay. The reason why I'm keeping these simple is because I want to keep them deprecated. Like they'll change colors when you click on that area. So it's kind of nice to do that. So sometimes simple is better in that case. The social media buttons might go here as well. My logo might go here. So let's do a quick little logo design. I'll do my initials. I'll do M and I'll do E or something like that. So here's my logo. My initials are me, like MF Dosky. So I'm gonna use this little frick here with the E. I don't know. It works better with the other ones, with the other letters. Let's rotate this way. All right, so there's my initials. Perhaps this might be a logo. I don't know, something like that. You guys will have a brand for your logo, I'm sure. Make sure you identify yourself or just put your name. Nothing wrong with that either, right? So for this, what I'm going to do here now is go to Object and was Flatten Selection. Yeah, Flatten Selection. I was looking for outline object. I'm still getting familiar with the terminology here with Figma. So it's flatten selection means like basically create outlines. Okay, it's still vector. Don't worry. Here's what else you can do. Okay, you can also go up here. No, not use as mask. Okay, well once it's flattened, it's fine. You can just go with that too. I was gonna use the Pathfinder and join them, but that's if I did them individually, then group them, then did it. This will do the trick just fine. Just leave it alone. And then I can resize it and stuff. All right, so there's my like logo position. You might have your logo positioned on your page to the left. I've seen it to the right. I've seen it both ways. So whatever you're, feel more comfortable with or whatever works, that's fine. Your menu might be something like that. You might have your social media icons on the top. I mean, there's not too much you can do different than this setup for a website. I've seen very rarely I see like vertical menus. That's like the thing in the past. So usually it's across this way, logo, your typical logo, menu, social media. Sometimes you put social media on the bottom. It depends how you want to go about it. I'm gonna leave that to you. Okay, that's your call. I'll do one more element of design just to kind of keep the line tool going. So maybe I'll do like a line across just to kind of solidify this presence here, right? There we go. And this will be, that's way too thick, just two. I'm not big on these borders, by the way, so I don't know, just kind of do, you can even make it go like halfway or something. Right, like that, whatever. All right, so then we can go ahead and how to get the social media stuff in there. Well, I'm going to show you how to integrate SVG files that I shared with you to Figma, because that's something you're going to ask me to say. How do I put XD files in Figma? You can't, but you can take the which I converted for you, the SVG files, which is scalable vector graphic, and you can convert those into Figma. So those are under UI Kit Desktop. Here it is. Okay. I'm going to look for the social media library. Just hit the space bar if you want to find. Look, there's buttons here. So you can take this and use them if you want. But, I want to create you to create your own UI kit. So just you can draw a bunch of circles and rectangles, I'm sure. You don't have to bore with these. It's actually more work for you to take these apart than for you to make one yourself. Okay. So that's what you want to do. All right. So we're going to go ahead now and let's look for the other ones here. Let's see, what I'm looking for here, the social, look, the sliders over there. There's some nice stuff you can get from these things. There they are. So how do I get these files, these icons into Figma? So what you do is you right click, you got to bridge the two applications with Illustrator. Illustrator is our vector program. Don't forget, it's the best one in the planet for drawing. So anything vector, we open in Illustrator. So we do that. Illustrator. Well, it's open. I'm looking at this bridge collapse that happened in Baltimore today. It was quite tragic, actually. It's pretty bad. A cargo ship hit a bridge and the whole thing collapsed. I don't know how these things even happen, but I guess accidents do happen. Okay, so there it is. What you'll get is this SVG file. To test it really, if it's, real vector, you press Command Y. That means, hey, the vector files are there. How do we grab this little Twitter icon? And well, you can like double click and triple click until you select the icons. Honestly, that works. Okay. You can also just select the whole thing and release the clipping mask. Because what happens is when it's saved back and forth between programs, it creates like a clipping mask. You might have to do it like, and then ungroup it. So just remember, clipping mask and then ungroup. And then you have these things individually. And even then, you might have to do something else. Let me just see. Oh, there we go. So I got Twitter. So I'm going to copy one at a time. Okay. So Twitter or X. I mean, that's an old logo, by the way. But hey, let's just go with it for now. Let's go back to Figma. Okay. Command V. Just like that. Okay. Uh, yeah, you can change the color, do whatever you want. Perfectly fine. Okay. And this will be the very top. So we'll put the social media icons up top. It's important. So copy and paste is how you do that. Okay. So let's get the Facebook button, and don't do both at the same time because it'll like merge them or something. It'll do something weird. Okay. So just do one at a time. Don't do multiples. Okay. So let's do copy and paste. Right. And Instagram, copy, paste. Ready? And maybe we'll do another one, like I don't know, your contact info, or maybe another link for a website or something. LinkedIn is a good one, of course. So we're going to do copy and paste. Okay, so we're going to do all these here. Maybe copy and paste them first and scale them second, because you don't want to scale them one at a time. I already did that with Twitter buttons, so don't like just do them all at once and then scale them all together. Okay, so make sure you select all four and scale them one time so it's consistent, not one at a time. I just did that to see. So there. All right. So we want these to be also a color that's reflecting our, in this case, we're going with black and grayscale. So yeah, it's gonna stick with black. All right. So social media icons. And again, you can then drop your colors and textures after you do your wireframe. I'm just gonna do a wireframe for now. But this is now,
Michael,
yes. Go ahead.
sorry.
Mhm.
Like, for example, if we are working with the design Illustrator,
Yeah.
and and we want to like just copy and paste of Figma, is there a way to like paste like on the same place? Because I saw that you copy and paste, and then you have to move the element to the place you want. But is there a way to just place on the exact uh,
So that's a very good question. And I'll be honest with you, I wish there was an easier way. Let's say this was, let's back it up a bit. So that's a good question, Becky. Let me see, okay? So this
okay.
is now 1440, 1024, right? That means if I go
Mhm.
to Illustrator and I have the same size of artboard, let's do 1440 by, the thing is, I think if you match the artboards, you should be able to do it. Let's go to the artboard tool. Where's the artboard tool? There it is. So 1440. Well, I gotta do, let me just change this to pixels here for a second. So 1440 by, what was it? 1080? I don't think that was the right size. Let me see. 1024. So if I do 1024. So what happens is Becky has a good question, because some of you, hey, Illustrator is still the number one design tool. I use Illustrator over any other program for designing. And if I can copy and paste stuff, then yeah. But look, if you're doing simple things in Figma like buttons and stuff, you can still do it. You don't have to really use Illustrator, but whatever you're comfortable with. So this is Illustrator right now. Let's say I do I don't know, like a menu or a design, and let's say I do something like this. How do you paste in place exactly, right?
Mhm.
So I have this in here, and I got the little heart in here. All right, so I have option drag, step and repeat. Okay. And I purposely do this because I want everything to be exactly like this layout and design. So I'm going to go ahead and let me do another design here. I want to make sure everything's designed. So I'll have another rectangle here, and this will be maybe in the back. I'll make it blue. And these will be brought up a bit this way. Okay, so I want to copy and paste this into Figma. Here we go. Select the whole thing, copy. Okay, so you want to match sizes and implement the same thing. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go to this one here, press Command D, which means duplicate. I'm going to delete all this stuff here, make it nice and plain. So here's my artboard. Okay, Command V. Look at that. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay, so make sure the size matches the area that you're copying and pasting to. And yeah, then you have, look, everything is, you still have to probably do this. Watch this now. You have stuff to do, second here. Ungroup. Yeah, you have to ungroup it, okay? And then just tweak it a bit. I think it wasn't
Perfect.
perfectly so. Yeah, but it works. It should work, okay?
Okay.
Now,
Thank
yeah,
you.
but you're very welcome. But just since we're on the subject on this, please don't do like this is what Figma won't understand. Neither XD didn't either. If you start doing like gradient mesh tool, okay? If you start doing gradient mesh stuff, let's say you kind of did, I don't know, something like, okay, you did some really even gradients. No, okay, be careful with gradients because the gradients in Illustrator are different than gradients in XD or Figma or any other program. Illustrator is a highly advanced drawing program. It won't understand some of the stuff that you do here or there. So if you attempt something like this, you come over here and you paste, right? What it's going to do, it's going to give you an image. Like you can't edit this gradient. It'll work in terms of pasting, but this is now it's an image. It's like a PNG or a JPEG, and you can do some really cool stuff here as well. So when you copy and paste, just try to stick with vector files, okay? All right. So good question, and I'm glad it worked out actually because copy and paste works really well. All right. So that's your best friend, copy and paste. If it isn't already, I'm sure it's going to work well with this. Okay, so next, let's go ahead and implement some of these other things. I'm just going to do one page today just to get things moving. And next week, we'll focus more on the website because we're still kind of hanging on this UI kit. And I hope that was already done before. So let's go ahead and do some other things here with, right. So we have, like an actual header, some text, some image, things like that you can implement. I'm just going to do a very quick design in Figma for that. Oh man, all these windows now. Let me close this because I don't need the Illustrator window. I'm going to quit Illustrator. It's going to cycle between these two programs. Right, so I'm going to create a text box here. You might have like a nice heading. This is your heading element or title, right? So this is whatever you want to do with your headers, nice and large. Keep the fonts minimal to like maybe one or two. You don't want to do too many. You want to maybe put some text in here, some graphics, want to put a hero banner, whatever you want to dress it up as, right? I'm just going to do a simple little WordPress looking website for now. And then I'll do like another text box. This is where some of the text can go. And I don't have any text right now. So I'm just going to copy this. I can also do some lorem ipsum, paste, pressing Command Shift less than. It's a universal shortcut for controlling your text. I'm going to keep this regular because, you don't want to put bold text on your body. And this will be like an image in here. It's going to draw a simple little box for the image, like a rectangle. This is where your image placements can go. This is all based on your design, right? Whatever you want to do here. Okay. I think we covered this images last time. So if you want to put some stuff here, let me make this. I'm going to expand the homepage artboard longer. So let's cut the longer view here, right? And this little image here, I'm going to put a real image just to show you how to do that. Could have copied and pasted that one from there, but just to show you, because you're going to be bringing your own images in there. So let's see here. What the heck do I have here? some images. Here is a PNG. I'll use this image right here, right? It's one of my Boston Pizza things that we're doing. All right, I'm going to copy this picture here. There's a PNG or a JPEG, whatever image you have to bring into your, portfolio, your desktop, your mobile. What I'm going to do is, XD was nice. You can just drag and drop like that, but it doesn't really work in Figma too well. So one way is to, I find the best way it works is this way. You click on the fill, okay? And the fill gives you different, fill colors, obviously. You can pick different colors for your fill. However, there's option to do a gradient, which you can do a gradient as well. I kind of like how they modernize it a bit. Okay, so it kind of works with your typical gradient colors. You can do gradient. You can also do image. Okay, checkerboard is the default, or you can put a video. Okay, to put a video, just drag and drop a video file, and you're good. I'll try one actually later. Okay, so let's do image for now. So I'm in the image option. Move this over, and I drag this little picture in here. That'll basically replicate itself onto my design. And this accommodates the frame. So if the picture fits the proportions, it'll do just that. Okay, so it'll give you the extra frames. And then look, you can use the scale tool after, and you can scale the whole thing smaller, right? So you can do the whole thing, make it look nice and proper. Okay. Then I can select my title text here. In this fill, I can use the eyedropper and match that same red. I can start doing my color components and stuff. All right. Next, I'm going to put something else over here. I want to test the video capability, actually, now that I mentioned it. So I'm going to use a rectangle tool. Let's draw a rectangle here. And this will be a video. So how do you do a video? I did see one at my Boston Pizza folder. Here's my video. It's a video here.
January at Boston Pizza, every day is Pasta Tuesday. That means BP's famous pastas start at just $11.90.
So this is, if you guys want to go Boston Pizza, you can drop this promo on them and tell them, give me the Milo special, the half price pizza. There we go. All right, let's drop this in here. So I'm going to go fill, where the fill is, right? I'm going to go to video. Oh, it's got to be a professional team. Oh, really? All right, I got to have a real file here. I got to allocate it to like a team setting project, and then I can do a video. So no video, sorry. Don't worry about videos. You're not putting videos on your website anyways, unless you, let me make this easy and I can show you how to drag a video. Should be able to do it though. So it's a draft file. Okay. I think if I save it as something, as a file, you should be able to do it. Okay, so let's just not worry about the video for now, but that's how you would do it. You put it in the same little location. We'll talk about that next time. All right, so let's keep building this. We have the website file here. We'll put some more elements over here now. So here's what I'll do. Watch this now. I'm going to put a frame inside a frame. You ready for this one? So this is special. So if here's a frame tool. It's like putting an artboard inside an artboard. Why am I doing this? Because I want to show my rest of my portfolio on my homepage, some of my best work. I want it to be available in here. Okay. And the way I'm going to do that is by creating a frame. So if you watch closely, I have a homepage and I have a frame inside the frame. See that? So this resides inside these elements here. This gets a little messy, but you have to keep on top of it, right? So this frame will be consisting of, different things. Let's go ahead and change the color here so I can see it. Look at a nice grayscale version, right? And also I'm going to integrate some other things in here now, because don't forget, this is an artboard. Like this is an artboard inside here. By default, this is clipped. So if I unclip it, you can see the other stuff I'm going to purposely place outside. So it's like a scrollable, when you drag images in a gallery, that's what this will be. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and drag some elements in here. So here's some rectangle here. Okay, and this will be, a different color. Double click, option drag, Command D. Okay. This will be green. And this will be blue. And this will be yellow or orange. Right? So they're all located inside this frame, right? They're all kind of in here. Notice that? They're all inside the frame. Look on the left side. And if I hide this, they hide. But this frame, okay, the only reason why it's showing the outside is because I have to clip it. So if I click on the frame and I go clip content, it's going to clip it exactly where the frame ends, where this gray box is. And I'm going to move the whole thing together like this. So because I did this now, this is becoming a scrollable item, but not until I go to prototype and I select this frame and I make it horizontal overflow. So it's a horizontal scrolling overflow. So it's an overflow. Just remember this, it's a horizontal scroll. That's all. All right, so let's do a quick test. We are. Right, there's our nice looking website. Very nice, desktop size. Scroll down, there's our interactive gallery. If I scroll left and right, you can see your portfolio. Next week we'll get into like interactive stuff. So when you click on this, it'll open up on a separate page. You can do like a little, gallery that way, or go to another page altogether. But the main thing is this is how you can start setting up your website. Okay. Now let's connect another page very quickly because I do want to wrap this up because I have another appointment I got to go to soon, guys. So I'm going to hit Command D and I'm going to zoom in here. So because we're on the home page, what's going to happen is here, the color will be red, this Boston Pizza red, okay? This is the bio page. We'll call this biography. The biography, I'll just move it up a little bit. Maybe I'll move it here and there, and I'll move this over here just to switch it up. Of course, I can alter the layout and, you're going to make it look authentic. But for now, I just change it up so it looks a little different. And this will be the deprecated state. So this is clearly the biography page, and this is clearly the home page. And of course, these can vary, and you can make the other pages based on that. All you're doing is changing the colors of where the page lands. So if you're in biography, this is red, if you get it, right? Okay, so now to connect them, you simply have to go to prototype. This is already here. So the only button that's not going to connect is this one because this is already deprecated. It's pressed. These ones are the ones you link. So bio goes to bio. So you drag this to this page. That's it. So this, when you click on it, navigate to means go to, oh, I should have renamed this. Let's call it bio. Okay. So this, okay, navigate to bio. Look, it updates automatically, even if you forget to rename it like I did. So this goes to bio page. And this now, and then we're in the bio page, this doesn't link, and all the other ones go to their corresponding pages, but the home page goes back to the home page. So on click, navigate to home page. And that's how you can make a very simple, architectural design or architect your website, build it, and connect it and design it and have your prototype ready. And with that, you can do the whole thing like this. Okay, it's very simple. Of course, we're going to put the components and make it more interactive, but this, simply put, this is the way you can create the whole thing. Let's go ahead and press this is the designated starting page. You can control that by simply dragging it. Okay, so making that the flow page. Okay, you can convert this to be a floating starting point, or this to be a full starting point. Okay, so let's go ahead and start the preview. And this is what the page looks like. Okay, so we're looking at the page, scrollable things. If you click on bio, it goes to the bio page, right? If you click on home, it goes to the home page. And that's how you can make a very simple website prototype in Figma. All right, so I'm going to quickly name this file here. I can share this with you as well, just to kind of have this is a web page example. And that's how you can do your entire prototype in Figma. Next week, we'll elaborate more. I'm going to do some more sections and more parts. But more importantly, we covered the components file, which I already shared with you. And when I'm going to also share this with you as well. Okay. So you have the actual desktop file. Okay. So we're done with the lesson. I like how we went straight through. I love it. And let's see if you guys have any questions. Other than that, I gotta get going, guys. I gotta get some more stuff from the pharmacy there. They're waiting for me to pick up my things, and I'll be in person next week. We'll be back in the same place, same time. I'll be in full health. Okay, so let's see here. Everyone's going the windows. All right, so this wraps up our session. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye for now. Stay healthy and keep working on your assignments. Keep up the great work. Bye for now.
How soon can we get the video?
Yes, once I'm done this recording, I'll upload it later today. I promise. It'll take a few hours for it to compress, download, and then I have to go to my YouTube channel and do my uploadings. But I'll promise you, I'll have it done today, Abdullah Raz. Okay?
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. You're very welcome. Bye, everyone. Nice to see
Bye.
everybody virtually again. I'll see you in person soon. Bye for now. Take care.